All right, here is Resident Evil 8 struggling to run at 4K on my RTX 2070, which is definitely not a amazing GPU for 4K gaming. However, can FSR make it happen? Now I selected this scene. It's the same one I tested at 1440p. If you haven't seen that video, go ahead and click the link if I remember to put it up there at the top. And this is at the maximum preset, although with ray tracing turned off. I'll go ahead and show you the graphics settings here. So again, this is 4K. I'm on the max preset, ray tracing turned off. Okay, let's go ahead and try out FSR at the ultra quality setting, which tends to be the most usable. Look at the grass though. I'm interested if this performs better at 4K than it did at 1440p. Okay. So my first thought is that notice that my frame rate, I'll reset the average counter, you can see that in the middle. Again, top left corner has all my GPU usage and memory usage and all that. And we're up over 60 frames per second now, at least staring at this one particular scene. And that's amazing. We're getting 60 frames per second, actually above, on an RTX 2070 at 4K with max settings, no ray tracing. Now, I can tell you that right now I'm sitting way too close to my 4K TV, and I can tell that the grass is slightly less sharp, but overall, this still looks really good. I will say this is more noticeably downgraded at ultra quality 4K than the other games I've tested with FSR. Let's try it in motion and see if we can maintain 60 frames per second. Okay, so we're dipping a little below into the mid-50s, but that's not bad at all, especially if you happen to have a variable refresh rate monitor so you wouldn't get screen tearing. Down into the lower 50s here, but I would consider this absolutely playable. Absolutely playable. And many interior scenes and such aren't going to be anywhere near as demanding. Like up here, I'm up in the 70s. That village scene is actually a pretty demanding scene. I've got to say, this looks good. Hey, look at the lace on the, I've got to loot this thing, guys. I already beat the game. This is just a new playthrough, for testing purposes. But I gotta loot, guys. Looting was my favorite part of this game. Anyway, so we've got that lace. It still looks pretty well defined at ultra quality. I'm looking at the towels, right? This lace over here and over here. So let's see what this scene looks like when we drop it back down. Oops, wrong button. Drop it back to the native. So we're now at native. Might as well reset the frame rate counter. Okay, so we went way down in frame rates to just in the 50s. I mean, the lace looks a little more defined. I can definitely tell the difference between FSR on and FSR off. But again, I'm sitting way too close to my screen right now. Let me actually physically move back to my couch for a second. Okay, I'm much further away now, and I've got to say, let's go ahead and take a look at another scene here. Let's switch back to native 4K. Sorry, not to native 4K, but let's switch back to ultra quality. Okay, from back on my couch, I can't tell anything changed. So, my overall conclusion here for ultra quality, and we'll go ahead and look at some of the other presets as well, but my overall conclusion from ultra quality in this game is that when looking at fine details like this grass, this is one of the less impressive implementations of FSR that I've seen. But, from a reasonable playing distance, when I'm not just trying to pick it out at 4K, this seems pretty usable. I'm not sure I would have used it at 1440p when I did my 1440p test yesterday, which is what I would actually be gaming at. I don't usually game on my 4K TV. Let's go ahead and just get a look at what some of the other display modes look like. So this is going to drop the resolution even further. We're down to quality. At 4K, quality is sometimes usable. Let's go ahead and get the frame rate boost. Yeah, definitely more noticeable. I would still consider from back on my couch that this might be usable. If I had to game at 4K on my 2070 and this was the only way to get the frame rate bump, that might be what I do, but I might actually stick to ultra quality and just lower some settings below maximum. But if you're on a GPU let's drop this here. If you're on a GPU where you're already struggling, even at lower settings, then that's where FSR might really help you out. Down to balanced now. Okay, that's, I can actually tell even from back on my couch. I mean, sure, our frame rate's great, but like the grass looks like blobs now instead of individual little blades of grass. It does better on things like these bricks, but yeah, I'm not super impressed by this. And performance mode, I generally consider unusable unless you're just trying to get a system to run the game that really shouldn't be running the game. And that's one of the nice things about FSR is that it does support old GPUs and lower powered APUs and things that sometimes you're just trying to play the game and you don't really mind what it has to look like. Okay, so here's performance mode. We're at a nice like oil painting style. So yeah, overall, I'm less impressed by FSR in this game than I am in other games I've tested, but I do think that at 4K, at least the ultra quality setting is usable, especially if I'm sitting back on my couch on a 4K TV rather than my face right up against the monitor. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section, and thank you to all my subscribers and especially channel members. And I did go ahead and add a donate button in my description if you want to help me fund games to test and tech to review and all of that. That was a suggestion from a commenter, so I figured, hey, I might as well give people the option to buy me a coffee or, you know, send me some money. All right, everyone have an excellent day.